a chance. Telling me to dance, taking a chance.
Welcome to the Speaker Circle, where we're a safe place to come and gather virtually to share resources, ask questions, and receive monthly training to build our speaker profile. Whether you're a new emerging speaker or you're an advanced speaker, we invite all to come here. Join us today on Facebook at My Speaker Circle. See you soon. Hello, everyone. Welcome. We are coming live a little bit early today, and I want to thank our guests in advance because, I have to remember that people are from all over the world doing this, and so our 6 o'clock will be like his next day, okay? So we're going to go ahead. We're going to stream this live now, and I'm telling you, if you are on your lunch break, come on in and watch this show. We will restream this live at 6 p.m., and we invite you to ask your questions, whether you're seeing this live or you're going to watch the replay at 6, because guess what? We're going to make sure all your questions get answered, right? And so I'm super excited, and welcome to the Speaker Circle. If this is your first time or you're new, I know we have some new members in the Facebook group. I say welcome. What we do here is we share a monthly training that's going to help you build your speaker's profile. Whether you're doing it just because you love to do it or you're doing it because this is your profession, this is the place you want to be. In addition, we also share different resources and upcoming speaking opportunities that you can apply for. See some of the success stories that people have actually used and gained and made connections in this group. Apply for different speaker opportunities, whether they are opportunities that you get paid on the back end, right, by selling products, or you're getting paid directly. They all happen right in this group. But guess what? You have to be active, right? You have to engage. And I'm really, really excited about the topic that we're talking about today. Most speakers all say they want to do a TEDx. They want to do a TED Talk. Why? Because it helps build your profile. And our guest today is going to bring that noise. Why? Let me read a little bit about his bio. Alex is a public speaking coach and the founder of TEDx Clapton. Correct me if I said that wrong. And guess what? He is which is an offshoot of TED Talks. This is important, you guys. If you want to do a TED Talk, a TEDx, why not talk to the organizer? Why not talk to the person who has one, right? So he can definitely give you the insight that you need so that maybe your next talk will be that TEDx that you have been going for. His selection process for TEDx Clapton was notoriously tough. At the last event he ran, 400 people applied to speak. Only one was chosen. The rest had to be headhunted. Ooh, that's interesting. So let's learn about this application process so we can know what we need to do, right? With that said, those talks went on to change government legislation, raise finances, and lobby the United Nations. Others went viral and have become important showpieces for the entrepreneurs who deserved them, who delivered them. These days, he works with founders who are looking to become thought leaders through his 10-week Thought Leadership Accelerated, which runs every January. January coming up. Look, we're going to have to hear a little bit about that. So again, hold tight, get your pens, papers, whatever you do to take notes, because come on now. Y'all ready to do that TEDx, that TED Talk? Let's get this information. Let's get this information from Alex. And so as I welcome him to the stream, show some love, some hearts.
What's up, Lenice?
Lenice, hi, how you doing,
Alex? That is the best intro I have had since I cannot remember when. I love that.
Well, we are honored to have you on our platform here, and we are really excited to hear what you have to say. Again, I look at you as an expert because, first of all, it's not easy to become certified as a TEDx host, right? And so not only are you certified as that, you have gone on to help people's videos become viral and things of that nature. So I know today is going to be more than a treat. It's priceless. So thank you again.
No, not at all. Thank you for having me.
So I'm going to move to the side here. I'm still available. I might pop in and out. And we're going to give you the stage. So go ahead and let people know what needs to be done.
Lanice, if you want to interrupt me at any point, jump in.
Okay, will do.
Yeah? All right. What's up, everybody? Really, really excited to be here with you today. As Lanice said, my background kind of comes from two different areas. One as a public speaking and thought leadership coach, and the other as the founder and curator of TEDx Clapham. And as Lanice mentioned, it's quite hard to become a TEDx curator these days. It took me 2 years to convince TED to let me have one of their licenses, and it felt like a million. It was probably 6 or 7 failed applications. Now, full disclosure, I'm not running TEDx Clapham at the moment. The last TEDx event I ran was back in 2018, but I've got 3 TEDx events behind me. And when I was running them, I had a license to run beyond 100 people events because I was invited out to New York to meet the TED team and so forth back in 2017, which feels like ages ago now. Lots and lots happened. And the other thing, I guess, is, as Lanice said, our application process, that's the application process that I can really speak to. But off the back of me really understanding and going through our application process over the course of 3 different separate TEDx events, I've really started to get inside the mind of a curator for my thought leadership program. The second module of our thought leadership program is on landing a talk. The whole purpose is to come up with a stage ready talk concepts, thought leadership concepts, find and land speaking engagements, big stage presentations. So we probably have half of our group go down the TEDx route, and then we've got others going for other big stage conferences, your web summits and your South by Southwest and things like that. Then we spend a load of time writing the talk, working on the delivery, and then putting an amplification strategy in place so that your talk can get seen by a good number of people. But I'm not here to talk to you about that today. What I'm really here to talk to you about is how you can significantly increase your chances of landing a TEDx gig from how you apply to these engagements. Within the community, I get the impression that fairly regularly there are call to actions and opportunities to speak at lots of these events. And almost always when you get asked to speak at one of these events, or when there's an opportunity to speak at one of these events, you have an application form to fill in. And I thought what would be most useful for all of you today is to dig into what are the questions you're most likely to be asked and how not to answer them in a way that is going to result in your application being rejected by the curators themselves. So let me take you through that. But before I do, one thing I want to say to every single one of you that I think is really important to really start understanding the mindset of a TEDx curator. Well, firstly, we're all volunteers. We're doing this off the back of another job that we're probably super stressed about. We have very, very little time, but we are doing it for the benefit of our communities. The reason why we're doing it is to bring the community together and hope to elevate some of the ideas within that community itself. So understanding that, I think, is really important. The second thing, and I think the most common mistake I see people making when they apply to land one of these engagements, is they come across within their application form as though the main beneficiary for landing and delivering a TEDx talk
Uh-oh, I think you're frozen. And man, that was getting good. So we definitely want to get you back. Alec, I don't know if you have to log off, log back in, but you are frozen right now. I'm not sure if you can hear me. You guys, just a little technical difficulties here.
Hello, am I back?
Yes, you're back. You're back. Yes, we got to hear that.
I'm so sorry.
It's all right.
I'm so sorry. So luckily I can remember where I was. So the most common mistake people make is they make it come across as though the reason why they want to deliver a TEDx talk is because it will be an amazing opportunity for them. It's on their bucket list to land one of these things. Or they want to promote something that they do for the benefit of their own business. They want to pitch their business and so forth. And Lenise at the very beginning of this mentioned the last TEDx event that I ran, we had 400 people apply and we only accepted one of those people. There was a stage in between from getting from 400 to 1. From the 400, we took about 10% of those to the next round. And the next round essentially involved an audition where they would come and meet myself and the curation team, and they would have 5 minutes to essentially pitch their talk to the team in person. And then from that moment there, that was how we filtered down to the one idea. And then we went out to headhunt the rest of the people. So let me tell you, if you are being very proactive about landing these speaking opportunities, the best way to do that is to take control into your own hands. Find TEDx events that are looking for speakers and get applying to them. And it's a numbers game. One of the people that I worked with a few years ago, his name's Roger Frampton. If you type into Google Roger Frampton TED Talk, you'll find his talk come up. He was rejected from 25 different TEDx events before he landed the engagement that he spoke at. So another caveat before I go through the questions is just because you get rejected again and again and again, it doesn't necessarily matter, because his talk ended up being the 4th most watched talk of 2016 and has got millions of views now. I always have to drop him a line every time he hits the 1 million mark. And the opportunities that have come through from that one talk, he's published 2 books since then, gets paid to speak across the world around his subject, and is very much considered a thought leader in his subject too. So if you're applying and you're getting rejected or you're not hearing back, you might need to tweak elements of your application, because it is ultimately a numbers game. But keep the faith. If you have really refined that application, you've put time into that application, it's going to really make a difference. All right, so let me take you through the questions that you are most likely to be asked. Question number 1. Oh, isn't it a shocker? Tell us about yourself. What an awful question, by the way, that is. It is so broad to know where you're going to go with this question. And I think the big mistake that people make with this particular question is that they focus on one thing and one thing only: credibility, credibility, credibility. I am this particular job title. I've achieved this particular thing. Me, 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 me. And the issue with that, of course, is that is exactly what everybody else is doing. That is exactly how everyone else is applying. And given it's question 1, this is your very first chance to make an impression. So you need to think about how you answer this question differently. How can you capture our imagination? And how can you get past perhaps that professional profile that we're so used to throwing out every time we're trying to apply for a speaking engagement? I want to see behind that. I want to see the human behind that. So the less professional that you can make that counterintuitively, the more likely you're going to be remembered. Every application we get would probably end up in an Excel spreadsheet, and we are going through those applications as quickly as possible. And if come the end of skimming through question 1, we're saying, oh, they're interesting, then we are far more likely to read through to the next question itself. So the more memorable you can make that question without being braggy or too professional, the better. Tell us where you're from, how many kids you have. quirky little hobbies that you like, opinions that you might have formed that have got nothing to do with the talk subject that you're going to give. These are some of the things that are going to make you special and unique to us. We want to be able to connect with you on that level. Question number 2. What is your idea worth spreading? Now, the very ethos behind TED and TEDx is to share ideas worth spreading. And the problem is that an idea is a very hard, I mean, how do you define what an idea is? It's very, very hard to pinpoint exactly what this thing is. So what tends to happen when we receive these answers through is we tend to get at least a paragraph. My idea is all about how to improve our mental health. And let me tell you a little bit about why I think that idea is important. And they immediately try and sell that idea. Let me tell you a story about someone who, in fact, maybe the second or third person I ever accepted onto a TEDx stage, which was back in 2016. And I was at a party because I'd stupidly, well, not because not related, but I finally, after 2 years, get the TEDx license. And I put it on my LinkedIn profile. I started just getting inundated with pitches. Please, can I speak at your event? Please, can I speak at your event? And you get to a point very quickly where it's like, oh, not another one. Anyway, I was at a party and someone said, you need to meet this particular person. They'd be brilliant for your event. And I was like, here we go again. And anyway, so I got introduced to them. And I was like, so what would you like to speak about? And what they said, I will always remember to this day. They said, I want to change the perception of sexual assault. Full stop. And it was the first idea that I'd properly heard that I truly believed wasn't self-serving, but was absolutely for the benefit of the community. She didn't talk and ramble on. It just cut straight to the point. So the real secret to being able to answer this question is, can you answer this question in one sentence and have that one sentence leave the TEDx curator with absolute clarity on what it is that you want to talk about? Because then they will be in a far better position to decide whether or not your TEDx subject is right for their conference or whether it's not. In my program, we spend about 2 weeks coming up with one sentence. So this takes a bit of time to get right and a little bit of time to wordsmith. So I want you to just be very conscious of that. Answer this one in one sentence and do not feel the temptation. Please don't feel the temptation to justify it with more. If you can't communicate your idea simply, it means it's just an indicator you don't quite understand it well enough yet. Question number 3. Provide a brief overview of your talk, 200 words. And you know what? The word count could change slightly. Sometimes it might be 200, sometimes it might be 500. But that's fine. And I think the key here is do not give the organizers an essay to look at. I always found that receiving bullet points, taking me with a very clear, a couple of sentences maybe per bullet point, but taking me very clearly through the journey of their presentation, I found that to be super useful for what it is that we were going to cover, or what it was that they were hoping to cover. The thing that used to really frustrate me, though, was when people would write, in my talk, I'm going to talk about how X, Y, Z. I don't want you to tell me what you're going to talk about. I want you to just talk about it. When you answer this question, imagine this is the transcript or a 200-word summary transcript of your talk, because you wouldn't stand on stage being like, today I'm going to talk to you about You haven't got time for that on a TEDx platform. So get in straight away and talk about the thing that take people through, right? Take them through the structure and the journey so they get a feel for how the talk is going to make them feel. Question number 4. There's only one more question after this. Question number 4. Possibly, if the other questions weren't important, this is super important. Why do you want to give the talk? I want to give the talk because it is on my bucket list. I've always wanted to give a TEDx talk. I want to give a talk because I want my business to grow. Not interested. I want to talk because I want to motivate and inspire others. Also not quite right. When I was at TED back in 2017, chatting to the TED curators, so not TEDx, TED curators, they said to me, one of them said to me, that if they came across the words motivation or inspiration in the application form that they received, they would stop reading it. And that always puzzled me, because from their perspective, why? When we watch TEDx talks as viewers, we often leave those talks feeling motivated and inspired. So what is it? And I've been thinking, ever since, I've been really dwelling on this. And I think it's because as adults, we forget what it feels like to learn. We simply forget. We aren't exposed to learning things every day. So when we do learn something, or a particular topic is being communicated in a way that opens our minds up to all these new possibilities, we feel motivated and inspired. But at the very heart of inspiration is education. And the base level of your talk has got to be to educate, to teach people something new. Another good reason to deliver a talk is to try and change something. And there are two things that you can change. You can change people's opinions on things and their perception of things, and you can change people's behavior. So is there a specific behavior that you want to change? So this is not about you, this question. This is about the impact that your talk can have. Come the end of your presentation, come the end of your TEDx talk, you walk off stage, your talk goes online, gets seen by thousands of people. What happens next? What do you want to have next? What do you want that talk to go on and do? And this is where that girl, Isabel Chapman's her name, went, the girl who said, I want to change the perception of sexual assault. Well, her talk ended up changing government legislation. She was the one who ended up changing government legislation. Has her talk been seen millions of times? No. And I think that's the other misconception. You don't need your talk to be seen thousands, millions of times for it to go on and have a huge impact. Her talk's been seen about 10,000 times. It's not about how many people see it, it's about who sees it. So if you in this question can say, this talk is going to be put in front of X, Y, Z change makers, as an organizer, I'm thinking, I could be part of this journey. I could be part of the journey to make this vision, this idea that they've been talking to me about in this application form come to life. And it's always those ideas that I'm far more interested in putting up on a stage, because as I said at the very beginning, us TEDx organizers, we're volunteers, it's hugely stressful to run a TEDx event. We've got so many different moving parts, and we don't actually get a huge amount of support. So absolutely no financial support, that's for sure, from TED. It's on us, this stuff, and reputationally this is on us too. So to know that the legacy of the talks that we're putting on stage has the potential to be huge, that is why we're doing the job. So this is your opportunity to capture our imaginations. Last but not least, you'll get a question like this. What makes you uniquely placed to talk about your subject? And this is where you might put a little bit of credibility into the elements, particularly if you've got data, unique data that no one else has come across to share with your audience. Well, these are insights that people are going to need to hear. So why are you different to everyone else? Because why would we have the second best person to be delivering a talk on this subject? So if you can build a really credible argument as to why your perspective is unique and different from everybody else's, it's going to make a huge impact on the success of your application. So those are the main areas. Those are the things that you really need to be thinking about when you're answering these applications. If you can get the answers to those questions right, you will be in the top 10%. And it will significantly improve your chances of landing an event. Roger, who I mentioned at the very beginning, whose talk was the 4th most watched talk of 2016. Well, he didn't know all of this stuff beforehand. Had he communicated his idea in a more effective way through the applications that he was filling out, 5 would have been a far more realistic number that he would have had to fill out to then go through the stages beyond that. So top level, really think about the curator's experience. Dot the I's, cross the T's, explain your idea simply, and provide a really compelling reason why your talk deserves that airtime. And that compelling reason has got to be about what that talk can go on to potentially achieve afterwards. I hope that was useful. Lanice, do you want to come back in?
Oh my God, no, that was very, very good. So again, I want to invite you all, if you have any questions, this is a time to put those in the chat. If you're going to be watching the replay, please still put those questions in the chat. We will make sure to go back and answer any questions that you may have. This was so beneficial to me, and I'm going to share, and you let me know if this is true, because people who are applying, not just for TEDx, but to apply to speak in other engagements, this information, they could use, this is my thought, they could use that same process when applying to speak for those conferences or different things that they would like to speak for. Have people used the same method before for that?
Oh yeah, if you look at any conferences that offer the opportunity to speak and put a call out for speakers, they will ask very, very similar questions to these. So the process that I've taken you through here, other conference organizers will feel very, very similarly about that stuff too. I think it's about creating relevance.
So is your suggestion, like, say someone is confident in different areas, how do they kind of choose which one to talk about? Do they look and see if there's like already a lot of TEDx topics on that, or what is some advice that you would give?
That's a great question. You got to pick one. So that question too, you know, what is your idea? Sometimes the answers we get back are so convoluted and multifaceted. If your idea sentence has got an "and" in it, it's too long. So you need to pick one, and you need to be as specific as possible. It's the specificity that will help make the idea different and unique from others. So yeah, I think that's the real key.
Okay. And so a lot of times, like just talking to different people, they are so focused on the delivery and how they will deliver that message. When it comes to applying, is this the time really they just more focus on the content and then worry about delivery later? Or do they need to really be focused on the whole concept?
Delivery comes later. When people do my programs, and you know, we spend first 2 weeks all about coming up with that core idea and getting really clear on the idea is going to be. Then straight into week 3, we're applying. We haven't written the talk yet. We haven't practiced our delivery. We haven't done any of that stuff. It's not important because you haven't got a talk to be good for yet, ultimately. But in a perfect world, so, you know, I'd like to have, in a perfect world, if things were going swimmingly for me as a TEDx curator back when I was doing it, when you get the license accepted, and it has to be renewed every time you do it, when you get the license accepted, you've got 12 months to run your event. It'll probably take me 6 months to get the team prepared, source the venue, and have, you know, get the theme decided and all of that stuff. And then that 6 to 9 month mark is likely to be where I'm going to be choosing my speakers, that 3 month period. That way the speakers have got 3 months to get their messages and their talks really good and clear, and to practice it so well that it looks like they're delivering it for the very first time. And it just looks like they've put no preparation in at all, and everything that's coming out of their mouth is gold. You know, it's that effortless delivery is really what we're after. But that stuff comes later. Clarity of message is so important. Yeah. And you don't need to be some extrovert, loving crowds and audiences, even loving public speaking to deliver an effective talk. Some of the best messages have come from people, from my experience, that I've had to literally persuade to stand up and speak.
Wow. I think what I really, really love that you shared is, like, I think some people they want to do the TEDx, right, to elevate their profile.
Mm,
But you said something like really understand your goal at the end. Like, how is it really going to change? How's your idea going to change something? What are you going to do
right.
with that idea? So
It can't be
it
about
did
you.
go viral, or it doesn't necessarily have to go viral, it has to be in the right hands, the right listeners. What are you
Yes.
going to do with that idea then? So I think even having that thought process can change how you even apply to TEDx versus, I use the word self-serving, which it's okay to be self-serving, but the whole goal of a TEDx is to serve others. So coming with that
Right.
mindset.
And that's what you did with yours, isn't it? You were
Yes.
serving others.
yes. And I applied a few times too and was denied. I definitely still want to do another TEDx talk, so I will definitely apply again. Do you encourage people to first kind of find out a little bit of the history of the different TEDx's before they kind of just apply, or should they just apply, just keep applying to a whole bunch of different ones? Or what is the method to that, if there is one?
We're part of a TED, like a Facebook group full of TEDx organizers.
Mm-hmm.
And occasionally it can be quite an angry group, actually, between you and I and the rest of your lot, always complaining about something. I'll just lighten up a bit, right? Anyway, one of the big things that they complain about is what they call serial TEDx speakers. And because the reason they're constantly speaking on the stages is because they want to get the limelight. And the truth is, you only need one good talk. And that talk doesn't have to do well straight away either. There's a guy called Malcolm London, who's a spoken word poet. Brilliant. His TEDx talk I didn't have many views for months, and then suddenly it went viral. He was getting messages left, right, and center. He'd forgotten about it, given up, thought there was no hope for it. So you can never quite predict how it happens. But what I would say is, should you apply to lots on the bounce? Yes, but only if you've written an application that's clearly not self-serving. Because the people who get flagged in our community by being like, has anyone had one of these applications from this person? Because they're clearly applying to a million of our TEDx events and trying to ruin TEDx, and they go totally over the top of it. Like, it's your choice whether you hire them or not. Like, don't have a go at them. They're just trying to hustle. That's all they're doing. Give them a break. But the reality is you want to, provided you've put time into that application and made that application come across as not self-serving, because every TEDx organizer knows if we give you that slot, good things are going to happen. Opportunities are going to come your way. We know that stuff's going to be there. So it's got to be about more than you. It's got to be about your audience and the idea that you're trying to make happen and make come to life. And that's why entrepreneurs often are brilliant TEDx speakers, because they're not just talking the talk, they're walking it as well. Yeah. So if you can prove that it's not just something, you're not just trying to say things, it's not an ego stroke, it makes a huge, huge difference.
Yeah. So once a person has their TEDx, any advice of what they should do with it now? They've landed, they booked it, now they have it. So what advice would you give them?
Put an amplification strategy in place. For those people who have delivered a TEDx talk and want to get their talk seen, there are things that you need to do really within the first 24 hours of that talk going live to give the algorithms of YouTube the best chance of giving it that nudge. Because the truth is, when I last checked, there are about 10,000 TEDx talks being delivered every single day. Wow. Or not every single day, every single year. Mm-hmm. Your talk will get lost in the noise unless you have an amplification strategy. And it's very, very nice, but it's also very naive to look at that. Look at TEDx's YouTube channel and be like, wow, 30+ million views. It's even more than TED. Get my talk on there. It's going to get seen. It won't. It will get lost. So you've got to put some time into getting that talk out there and making those algorithms work for you by, particularly in that first 24 hours, will really, really help. The second thing that I would say is your choice of title is critical. If that title doesn't, the purpose of the title is not to make you look good or to be particularly clever. The only purpose of that title is to convince somebody to press play. That is it. So it's about inspiring, provoking curiosity, right?
Wow.
Or delivering something punchy. So there's a very big difference. People often think that the title of a TEDx talk is the same as the idea of the talk. Just categorically not true.
Wow. That is some great advice. So this has been really, really beneficial. And I know that you also, of course, I checked your website out and did some digging on you as well. You do offer some coaching, and you talk about presentations and everything like that. Can you share a little bit more about what you do and how people can connect to you if they're like, you know what, I know that I would love a coach, or I would love more information, or I would love just a little bit of one-on-one or private group, whatever you
Sure.
offer. Can you share a little bit of that?
Yeah, of course. Thank you. So I've been running a thought leadership accelerator for a number of years now. It's my favorite thing that I do. I work with people over 10 weeks to help them get clear on their idea, help them land a talk. We spend 2 weeks working on your application, and we get your written application sorted. And I won't let you send it until I would approve it for my own events. We get a video application sorted. I coach you through any interview process that you might have beyond that. And, lo and behold, people start. I've got 2 people from my program from my January program from this year, who are delivering TEDx talks this week, which is awesome. We got 1 in 3 weeks time. And then we write the talk and make sure that the clarity of message is good, the journey that you're going to take the audience on is good, and we design the talk so that you get your viewers past the first 30 seconds, right? We have to think about that. It's got to be good for your live audience, yes, but your online audience is far more important than that. Then we work on your delivery. I've got an analytics platform that's super cool to help you monitor how you use pace, your eye contact, your body language, strength of theme, filler words. I've got like an AI that helps to measure and monitor all of that, so you can monitor your progress as you go. And then we put an amplification strategy in place, so that when you've landed the talk, when that talk goes live, you know what you're doing to get that talk seen by the right people. And it's all done remotely. And then for those that want to, I have a brand called Talks of Our Time. And about a month after the online program finishes, we have people coming from across the world down to London, and we get their talks filmed on the Talks of Our Time stage. And a lot of people are using it as the dress rehearsal for the TEDx talk they're going to deliver, and others are using it as the talk that they're going to put online themselves. So it's a lot of fun. If people want to get in touch, I like to have a chat with everyone. This isn't like some big crazy 100 people program. I have maximum of 20 people on every cohort. Every single person's working individually with me, and it's a mixture of group coaching calls plus one-to-one coaching calls that people get every week. So it's fun. But if I can put a link in the Facebook comments.
Yeah, and I have your website too. But yes, put that link.
And in fact, the best thing to do is to go on my website and book a call. It's 15 minutes, and I'll help you decide whether it's the right kind of thing for you. And if it's not, I'll just point you in the best direction of something else that I can help with, or that someone else can help with.
Perfect. So thank you. This has been great. Any last or closing words that you want to share with our audience?
Until you've done it, you will not quite appreciate the opportunities it will bring. And those opportunities will be completely unexpected a lot of the time. If I was going to give anyone a view count to aim for, it wouldn't be in the hundreds of thousands. I think the best view count to aim for one of these talks is 32,040. Let me give you my reasoning for that. 32,040 is a 15-minute talk delivered 24/7 for 365 days. And that means that your message has been listened to non-stop for a full year. And I think there's something that firstly is it feels very realistic to achieve, but also super satisfying that you've got a message working for you out online that is helping the idea that you're creating come to life.
Wow. Well, you guys, I know that you might have to come back and watch it to get those notes. If you missed anything, if you are in this group and you've watched it, tag someone else. I know you have someone who's been saying, you know, I want to get a TEDx, or they just been saying, I want to get a speaking opportunity. This information that was shared will help you either way. And I definitely would love for you to reach out if you need that individual or some more information one-on-one. We have his website showing, and I'm excited. Thank you again for coming and sharing with our group today. I am very grateful. So until next time,
pleasure.
you guys, we thank you for stopping at the Speaker Circle, and we will see you next month right here on this platform with another training to help your platform. Have a good one.
Big love. Thanks a lot, everyone.